Well, piggy belly swell. Hi, why? Wanna come look here real quick? Beachy Stout and his co-accused are freed of murder conspiracy charges. Wanna hear what Mr. just now? You heard right. Beachy Stout and his co-accused are freed of murder conspiracy charges. Hot off the press. Cock your ears that way and listen there, please. Portland businessman Everton Beachy Stout Mcdonald and Oscar Barnes, the man accused of murdering McDonald's wife, were today freed of murder conspiracy charges in the Supreme Court. The defendant, who will still have to answer to a count of murder in the ongoing trial, were freed after presiding judge Chester Stamp upheld no case submissions from the defendant's attorney. The judge found that there was no evidence to establish that there was a conspiracy between the two to take the life of Tonia Mcdonald. Me granny backfoot, hold on there. So we're going to talk about this first because we've been following all the testimonies and everything else, right? Right. So let me finish this article. Shout out to the Jamaica Gleaner. It says that the judge found that there was no evidence to establish that there was a conspiracy between the two. The men were charged in connection with the July 20th, 2020 murder of businesswoman 32-year-old Tonia Mcdonald, whose partially burnt body was found in a deserted road in Sherwood Forest in Portland. Tonia, whose throat was slashed, and the report said that she had 9 other knife wounds. I believe one of the reports said 10 stabs to the chest. A contract killer, Delvalin Minot, who is serving 19 years in prison for his role in her murder, but Delvalin Minot became a friend of the state, a snitch, a witness, a star witness to the prosecution, and his 19 years comes with specialities, like he will only serve 10 and then he is eligible for parole for his testimony against Beachy Stout and against Oscar Barnes, who he claims that he subcontracted and instructed to kill Tonia in a certain manner, just as Beachy Stout had instructed, and the prize for that piece of work was supposed to be $3 million. But it never worked out like that because they didn't get the $3 million. And he said that after the work was done, Beachy started giving them the runaround, wouldn't pay them the money, and then one day Beachy said to him, you must think I saw $3 million come by. Ah boy. Minot, otherwise known as Bubbler, he testified that he and Barnes made about 4 unsuccessful trips to Tonia's house to kill her before he lured her to an area where she was murdered, under the pretense that he had secured 2 guns that she was seeking to purchase. Right. Now, if you've been following all the testimonies, it said that Tonia's father was killed and Tonia had found out who the killer of her father was, and she wanted revenge. She wanted that person who killed her dad to be killed. But here's the thing. According to Minot, he testified in court that Beachy told him that she'll look for gun for buying up, cause she want kill the man where kill her father, but me kill him. Mr. Rotted Clot. So the court heard that Tonia had wanted to purchase the guns to avenge her father's death, and that her husband introduced her to Minot for his assistance, her husband being Beachy Stout Mcdonald. The court further heard during conversations between Beachy Stout and Minot, which he had secretly recorded, that the businessman later advised his wife to purchase 2 guns and had given her $500,000. Now, according to Bubbler or Minot in court, Beachy also called him and said the $500,000 there is your first installment payment for the $3 million to kill she. She a come with the money, but she think a gun she a go buy. But no give her no gun. Take the $500,000 there as the first installment, dash her away today. And then he testified that somebody came on the scene and they were unable to complete the job that day. So he called Beachy Stout, called Tonia's phone and said, come back to the supermarket. And then he called the alleged hitman's phone and said to him, no, you're not doing nothing, man. You know, like he was hurrying him up to do it and he wasn't doing it fast enough. Well, according to Minot, the plan to purchase the guns was a ruse that was used by Beachy Stout for Minot to get close to his wife. However, Barnes' lawyers have suggested that he was not involved in the plot and that it is Minot's son who was involved in the plot, who the police had initially arrested but later had released him without charge. Now, we covered this on Morning Thoughts. And remember, I said this man cannot be too bright because there you are secretly recording an individual, and while you are doing that, you're implicating your own son in a murder scheme. If you make a little video or a little voice note and you say, you know what, this is for my safety and security, because the man here might end up not paying me the money and might end up saying it's me plan to kill him wife and try back out of it. Me want conversation with me and him planning to kill her. See? Now, we're going to get to where this charge today, where what they got freed of today. But hold on. In the process of doing that, on one of the phone calls that were played in the courtroom, it is said that Minot could be heard telling Beachy that his son is with him. No mention of Oscar Barnes was anywhere on any of these recordings. No description of him, no mention of him, no nickname for him, no nothing. He was never mentioned, right? And I said Oscar Barnes is probably going to walk away from this because they have nothing, absolutely nothing on him other than word of mouth. But I don't think Beachy Stout could walk away from this. Well, lo and behold, today's news headline says different. However, Barnes' lawyers have suggested that he was not involved in the plot and that it was Minot's son who the police had initially arrested but later released, and that is because of that phone call. He implicated his own son. Minot, in the secretly recorded conversations, had said repeatedly that his son was involved in the plot and went with him and a taxi driver more than one occasion to Tonia's house to kill her. This is when I said Oscar Barnes is going to beat this case. So said, look upon this now. But when asked about the admission, he said that he only mentioned his son just to throw Beachy off, because Beachy had instructed him that not to give the job to anybody else, and kind of want too much man in this, that way too many loose ends won't be there, so he wanted him to conduct the job on his own. So when he called Beachy, and Beachy I say, who that there with you? He must say, I'm a son, man, everything alright, man. And Beachy said on the phone, or the voice that sounded like Beachy's voice that was played in court said on the phone, your son, we can't trust him? You think we can't trust him? And he went further and told Beachy, said, yeah man, him good man. And here what, him me use for lock all of my gun them, you know. Him hold all my gun them. And not only that too, the man say him want some money. And me don't want him sit down at the house and not do no work and just not do nothing. So him say him want money. Me explain to him the work and him come out. So him there with me. And somebody else was there as well, which he called his cousin. And he even explained on the recording, and really my cousin still in, but we're close like that, so I call him cousin. Him is the one that drive way back and forth. Who, by the way, was now asking for money as well, because they had went on several occasions to try to kill Tonia and it didn't work out. And the man say, yo, you can at least give me some gas money, man, until we do the job. Right? Right. But when asked about that admission, he said that he only mentioned his son to protect Barnes, as Beachy Stout wanted him to act alone. That wasn't good enough for the jury, obviously. The trial had also heard that the police had no physical evidence tying Barnes to the murder apart from Minot's statement. This is why I said on Morning Thoughts that Oscar Barnes more than likely is going to walk away from this. I love this because my audience can look at it and them say, yo, SouFlo, you know what y'all talk about, my youth. See it here? Now, additionally, the court also heard that Minot did not provide a description or a name of the man who he claims murdered Tonia. All he keeps saying is that it was Oscar Barnes that did it, but he didn't provide a name and he didn't provide a description of the person. Beachy Stout's lawyer, for their part, has suggested that there was no conspiracy and that he did not hire anyone to kill his wife. They also suggested that the voice in the secret recording was not Beachy Stout's voice and that he had no discussion with Minot about killing his wife. The defense, however, will begin their case tomorrow. Attorney at law Christopher Townsend, Courtney Rowe, John Jacobs, Earl Hamilton, and his son John Paul are representing Beachy Stout, while attorney at law Ernest Davis and Vincent Wellesley are representing Oscar Barnes. Now, let's talk about this. It says that the two will still have to stand murder charge, but they have now been freed of conspiracy. Conspiracy means, did they sit around and conspire? Did they sit around and hatch up a plan to have Tonia murdered? Honestly speaking, after all of what I have heard come out of that courtroom there, it sounds like them didn't have a plan for kill her, right? But it comes down to proving it. And I said it before, I'll say it again. Whose voice was that on that recording? They would have to get a specialist to come in and to say, yep, that is definitely him, or that is not him. But they made it too easy, because all Beachy had to say is, that's not my voice. Me and this man never have no conversation about planning to kill my wife. And where Bubbler frigged up this whole case was when Bubbler, for no reason, went to court and talk about him was getting some of Tonia too. She fling some pum pum on him too. So him and she did tight like this. That's why him never want kill her, and they were in a relationship. So the man who the husband put to watch the wife was also having sexual relations with the wife, which is Bubbler. Now, all that did was give room for the lawyers to say, that means that you have a vested interest then, man. Because you have your heart wrapped up in this. You said it to us. You had deep feelings for her. That's why you couldn't hurt her. So that means that you had a motive to actually want to kill her. Because she bad, right? She there with her husband. She there with you. She a fling some give a policeman. She a fling some give somebody else. She going to these sex parties and all these things. Is a woman you couldn't control. So it sound like you got jealous. Is you alone kill her, man? You alone plot to kill her and then try to implicate Mr. Beachy Stout Mcdonald and another person in it, trying to free yourself. And it looks like that just flew in the court. In other words, it worked. Now, they are saying Beachy Stout and his co-accused Oscar Barnes have been free of murder conspiracy charges. That means the court has found them not guilty, saying they did not conspire to kill her. Remember, I know, if you're talking about Beachy trying to conspire to kill his wife with Oscar Barnes, there is nothing, absolutely nothing, because Oscar allegedly comes from a third party. The original person who is the person who is testifying on behalf of the state. That person, Bubbler, Minot, he is the one who allegedly brought this second person in who he described as doing the killing. Now, the courts are saying, well, we don't have anything tying them to that. So, free of conspiracy charges, but they'll have to stand murder charges. It doesn't take a genius at this point, because I know what the hot question is right now in the room. The hot question right now in the room is this: will they be found guilty of murder? And my answer to that is, will they be found guilty of murder? My answer to that is no. They will not be found guilty of murder. Let me say it again. They have absolutely nothing at all on Oscar Barnes. Nothing. So Oscar is walking, and I've said that before and I'll say it again. Beachy, who I thought could not get out of this because of the recording, now that they have already freed him of conspiracy to murder, they cannot prove that Beachy killed Tonia. So in order to get him for murder, they're going to have to prove that he killed her. This coming like the X6 trial, right? They botched that trial because the man who owns the X6, rest in peace, Kajil Mace, the man who owned the X6 had proof that he was not on the island. You could go to the airport in a foreign, you can go to the airport in the US, or in Jamaica, wherever he was, and you could pull up footage of him the day and you can look at his passport and see when it got stamped, and he went through the airport and he boarded a plane and he landed in a foreign country and he was there. He was out of Jamaica when the incident took place. So therefore, that's all he had to present in court, and then the jury would see it and say there's no way he could have done that because he wasn't even on the island, right? There is no way Beachy could have killed Tonia, because Beachy was somewhere else where a lot of people saw him at while that was happening. Yes. So, if he escapes, which he just did, he is freed of the murder conspiracy charges. They can't stick a murder charge to him. I know him do it. In the worst case scenario, he hired somebody to do it, and that somebody can't tell a story straight in court, so the whole case I go get fling out. Now my prediction starting today is this: Beachy Stout will walk from this trial. Not only will Beachy Stout walk from this trial, Oscar Barnes will definitely walk from this trial as well. Stay tuned. Headline news today: Beachy Stout and co-accused freed of murder conspiracy charges. We'll talk more about this on Morning Thoughts in the morning, and I'll see you all then. Manners and respect to everybody tuning in. Big up on yourself and walk good. Hit that subscribe button. I'm out. Peace.